Hi everyone, it's Tamari, the Astro Fashionista. Welcome to my channel. I'm always bringing you the latest astrology, fashion, beauty, interior design videos, mainly astrological forecasts. And today we are going to talk about March 2019, which is really exciting. So we have a big month coming up, you guys. There's lots of activities, and make sure that you watch the video not only for your sun sign, your zodiac sign, but also your rising sign and your moon sign. I actually find that the rising signs might be a little more accurate because it's closer to what might be actually in your birth chart or natal chart. So without further ado, let's start talking about March. Okay, so I'm going to start out by giving the general forecast, what's going on for the entire month, and then I'll get into specifics for each sign. So Friday, March 1st, we had Venus move into Aquarius. And Venus is the sign of love and beauty. It's Taurus's and Libra's ruler. And when it moves into Aquarius, Aquarius is an air sign. It's very eccentric. It's very forward thinking. It doesn't like to play by the rules. That means we're all feeling a little more like feisty and rebellious when it comes to love, beauty, creativity, all of that stuff. So that was Friday. On Tuesday, March 5th, this is a big day, you guys. We have Mercury retrograde. I know everyone cannot stand Mercury retrograde, but it doesn't have to always be a bad thing. So Mercury retrograde is actually when Mercury, the communication planet, which is Gemini and Virgo's ruler, appears to be moving backwards. It's stationary, so it's not moving forward. And that can be a time of confusion. There's problems with travel, electronics, communication. So it's really not advised to sign important contracts. It's not advised to travel if you really have to. It really affects more short distance travel, but all travel can be affected. It's not a great time to like send really important emails. Like if you are going to, which we know life goes on, just make sure you recheck before you press send. And if you're signing any contracts, just make sure really to read the fine print. That same day, we actually have, actually not the same day. And I also forgot to mention that Mercury will be in Pisces still when it's retrograde, and Mercury is actually considered to be both in detriment and fall in Pisces, which means that it's not really that comfortable there. So we got to be extra cautious this go around. The next day, Wednesday, March 6th, we have a new moon in Pisces, and it is Pisces season. So when there's a new moon, there's going to be a new moon in the sign that season it is. So new moon in Pisces is all about new beginnings. It's a great time to start new activities, but keep in mind Mercury is retrograde, so it's not really a great time to like launch a business or start a new relationship. This is more about maybe going back to something that you've already done in the past and redoing that over, or finishing something that you haven't finished. That same day, you guys, this is a huge astrological placement. We have Uranus moving into Taurus, my sign. Uranus is the planet of change, unexpected change, disruption. It likes to shake things up. And Taurus is all about stability and keeping things status quo and being really stable and seeing things through to the end. So when Uranus comes into Taurus, which is considered in fall, it's not really a comfortable energy. The important thing about this is that it's going to last pretty long time, till about 2026. Yes. Okay, so Uranus in Taurus is going to bring lots of change on a global level, not just personally. Globally, we might see changes to the financial system. We have Bitcoin, and we're kind of maybe moving away to a different type of currency. Maybe cash is going to go away. Who knows? Maybe there's going to be a new form of currency that comes in to replace credit. We'll see how this plays out. But currency probably will be definitely affected. Agriculture, the way we harvest food. There could be changes to the way we communicate about things. Big, large issues being brought to the forefront. There could be issues regarding, let's see what else Taurus rules. Just overall stability and security, maybe national security. Pretty much anything that falls under Taurus's domain, and Taurus rules the throat. It's all about money, security. There is a creative aspect to Taurus, so there might be some creative global things that are new that come about. But this is going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Uranus only moves into a sign every 84 years. So we'll not be in Taurus again in our lifetime, unless somehow we start living to like 150 or something. And even then it still wouldn't be back in Taurus. But yeah, it's a pretty special thing. It just came out of Aries. So those were Aries issues we're dealing with. Now we're dealing with Taurus issues. If you are a Taurus, this is definitely going to affect you. I'll talk about it in the Taurus horoscope specifically. But yes, it's going to be big changes. And we got a glimpse into what these changes were last year when Uranus moved into Taurus for a brief period before it went retrograde back into Aries. So that was between May and November of 2018. So think about what happened during that time, and we might be revisiting. Last time Uranus in Taurus, I believe there was like the Great Depression. So if you go back in history and Google Uranus and Taurus, you can kind of see what kind of things we might be dealing with again. And the Social Security system was set up during that time. Okay, then we have Wednesday, March 20th, the first day of spring. That means the sun moves into Aries. It's the spring equinox in the northern hemisphere, fall equinox in the southern hemisphere if you live below the equator. And this is all about new beginnings, you guys. Spring is always a fresh new time. It's actually International Astrology Day. It's the beginning of a new astrological cycle because Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. And so in the Western Hemisphere, this is just a new start for the next 12 months as we start a new zodiac cycle. And obviously Mercury is still retrograde during this time, so it's not going to be a up and moving type of start, but it is going to be a fresh new start. We also have a full moon that same day in Libra, and Libra is Aries opposite sign. Every time there's a full moon, it's in the opposite sign of the sign the sun is in. So my advice would just be to be a little more diplomatic around this time, take on Libra traits, because Aries is a very self-focused sign. And then on Tuesday, March 26th, we have Venus entering in Pisces. So it leaves eccentric Aquarius. It enters into romantic and compassionate Pisces, where it's a little more softer. We might feel a little more romantic. We might feel a little more creative and wanting to express ourselves. So it should be a pretty nice time when Venus moves into Pisces. And then Thursday, March 28th, Mercury retrograde ends. So I know that's going to be a really great thing. Everybody's going to be excited about. Obviously, well, not obviously, I don't know if many of you guys know that there is a shadow period before retrograde, Mercury retrograde starts, and after Mercury retrograde ends. So although Mercury will be moving direct, it'll still be moving kind of slow. So just give it about a week or so before you really like make any major moves. But for the most part, we should be safe after the 28th. And then on the last day of March, I believe March 30th, yes, we have Mars entering in Gemini. And Mars in Gemini will bring the focus on communication issues. It'll bring it on maybe media. We might see some more scandals coming out. There's been a lot of tea, you guys, over the past. February was a hot mess. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what type of energy Mars brings to the forefront. Mars is all about action and starting something in aggression. And when you mix it with Gemini, it could mean some sort of like, you know, something's exposed, or there's some sort of verbal arguments or some sort of intense thing that we see maybe on a global scale, but also in your life. So keep watching to see how these astrological transits affect your sign. Okay, so this is the Aquarius Sun, Moon, or Rising March 2019 horoscope. If you don't know where your rising or moon sign is, you can go to my website, astrofashionista.com, click on your zodiac, and enter in your birth information to find out your birth time, your birth chart or your natal chart. So we have an exciting month ahead of us. So Aquarius, we start out March 1st with Mars entering your sign. Sorry, not Mars, Venus. So Venus is in your first house, which really is all about your looks, your vitality, your personality, your appearance. Venus there really supports some sort of new look. I will say Mercury's going retrograde. It's usually okay to do like some sort of new look or something if you want to get a makeover, but you're looking more attractive to people when Venus is in that part of your chart. So yeah, any sort of like new look or change or anything to your personality is supported during that time. Then on Tuesday, March 5th, we have Mercury retrograde. And there's a lot of activity happening in your second house of finances, Aquarius. So I would say be careful spending money that you don't have. I would just be careful on spending during this time. There could be some issues, maybe financial issues that come up. It is a good time, however, to pay off maybe some past debts, even though debt is really ruled by the 8th house. But if you have the extra cash, maybe from a tax return or something, maybe you want to put it towards a bill, that will be good for Mercury retrograde. The new moon is in that area as well on March 6th, right here. So if you're looking to make more money, maybe you might want to strategize on how to do so. Maybe strategize on how to pay down some bills. Maybe strategize on how to increase your income in some way. That energy is supported. That really is supported by the energy during that time. On Wednesday, March 6th, there's also Uranus moving into Taurus. And that's going to be like a 6 or 7 year transit. And that tells me that there's some major change happening regarding your home, your family life, and Uranus is your sign. Your ruler. The traditional ruler of Aquarius is Saturn, just like Capricorn. But once Uranus was found, Uranus was assigned the ruler of Aquarius. So Uranus changing signs is major for you because that is that's your ruler. So it's moving into your 4th house of home, into Taurus, and this might mean a shakeup at home. It can manifest in several different ways. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It could be a good thing where maybe you do purchase a house out of the blue that you never thought you could purchase, or maybe there's an addition to your family member that you didn't see coming some way. But it could be maybe something happens in regards to your home and maybe you have to move unexpectedly. I will say Aquarius is much better at dealing with the unexpected changes of life than other zodiac signs. So whatever happens, you'll be fine because you're used to this erratic energy anyway. But just wanted to bring that to your attention. And Mars is there currently. So there is a lot of focus currently on your home life. And then on Wednesday, March 20th, is the first day of spring. The sun moves into Aries, and Aries rules your 3rd house, giving attention on, relationships with siblings, neighbors, travel, short distance travel. After Mercury goes direct on March 28th, it is going to be safer for you to maybe take some short distance trips or something like that. And we also have the full moon in Libra, your sister sign, happening in your 9th house, again supporting travel. So maybe you want to book a trip somewhere, like a long distance trip. Maybe your summer travel plans, you book that trip, or you end up taking it for spring break or something like that. And then on Tuesday, March 26th, Venus is going to move from your 1st house to your 2nd, finances. So that supports finances. It might give you the urge to spend a little more than you normally would. So I would just guard against that. But overall, that being Venus being in that part of your chart is actually usually pretty good for maybe finding things that are worth more than what you paid, or finding things of good quality, getting a good deal or something like that during a sale. Just, I would say, watch the spending. And then on March 30th, we have Mars moving out of your 4th house of home into your 5th house of love and romance and children, bringing focus and energy to that area of your life. It might be that you're wanting to be, and Aquarius is, I wouldn't say, the most romantic sign in the zodiac, but you can have your moments, especially depending on what is going on in your chart. So maybe you're feeling a little energized and charged and you want to be romantic. If you have children, you're wanting to kind of hang out and do some fun stuff with them. So overall, a pretty good month. I hope you've enjoyed this March 2019 forecast. I look forward to seeing you in April.